is going on, you guys? My name is Jay Fritts. I'm a professional photographer and cinematographer based in the outdoor industry. And outside of a lot of my professional work, I also like to spend time photographing wildlife in nature. I take an annual trip to photograph bald eagles in northern Idaho every single year, and I look forward to it every year because it is overwhelming with how much activity there is and so many opportunities to capture incredible photos and video. Now, this year was my third year taking this trip, and I really wanted to make sure I went into it fully prepared, having had a couple years to really experience this trip, understand what camera equipment I actually use, and what the best way to carry around that equipment with me would be. And in light of this year's trip, I got to try out a brand new backpack that has very quickly become my favorite camera backpack I've ever owned, and has pretty quickly become the only backpack that I use for all of my outdoor projects. The specific pack that I'm going to be talking to you guys about today is the f-stop Shinn. It is an 80-liter backpack that allows you to carry so much equipment. It has made my life so much easier because I typically try to pack the same amount of gear, but just in a very uncomfortable way because I'm using bags that are not intended to carry camera equipment, let alone 50,000 pounds of camera gear. And one of the key features of this pack that really caught my attention is the fact that you can carry a 600mm prime massive lens while on a professional camera body like the Canon R5 Mark II with a camera grip completely attached and in the pack while still having quick access to the whole setup through the top lid of this backpack. Because of its design, it makes this pack perfect for wildlife photographers that are carrying these much larger lenses and bigger camera setups than you'll typically find. So to really dive into this pack, let's first start with some of the primary features that proved to be extremely useful during this year's annual bald eagle trip. The main compartment on the Shinn 80-liter pack is designed to carry f-stop's largest ICU. The combination of the Shinn 80-liter pack as well as the Master Cine ICU allows for quick access into that main compartment either through the top lid of the pack or through the back main compartment. These dual access points prove to be extremely useful, especially if you are carrying that larger setup like the 600mm prime on a camera body, because you can pull it easily through the top of the pack, or you can pull it out through that main compartment. It totally depends on how you're building out your pack and what's most necessary for you while you're out in the field. The front compartment of the pack is ideal for carrying spare layers like a jacket or gloves or any other clothing layers you might be carrying with you for long-term trips or for varying weather conditions. There are multiple hookup points all around the pack that allow you to attach gatekeeper straps, and this is really beneficial if you're planning to carry a tripod or other larger items that you want to carry externally to the bag. This goes hand in hand with the water bottle pockets that you'll find on both sides of the pack, also allowing you to stuff the legs of a tripod so that you have that extra support for your tripod to prevent it from wiggling around. You'll find waterproof zippers all over the outside and even on the inside of the pack, and this is extremely useful again for wildlife photographers when you're spending a lot of time outside, maybe in intense weather conditions, heavy rain, wind, and it very effectively keeps all that condensation out of the pack. Now, don't forget that if you are using those waterproof zippers, to make sure you're zipping all the way into the little garage slots. That is going to help ensure the highest level of water protection for the pack. Now, for the main compartment and top lid access, you're going to find heavy duty zippers that, although they aren't waterproofed, they're extremely rugged and durable and are going to really allow you to tug and pull on them, get into your compartments really quickly without any hangups and snags like you might find at times on some of the waterproofed zippers. On the inside of the pack, aside from a variety of internal pouches and compartments, you do have some really cool features like dedicated SD card slots that also fit other card types like the CF Express Type B cards. There is also a dedicated laptop sleeve, and this will fit up to your 16-inch MacBook Pros, and it really brings this pack full circle if you're looking for one bag to take on your bigger expeditions or photography trips. Now let's talk about some of the features that contribute to the pack's overall comfort. F-stop's Shinn 80-liter pack also features their proprietary Duradiamond material. This is a lightweight yet extremely durable material, and between the weather conditions and my personal abuse of this pack while I was out photographing the bald eagles, and held up extremely well, but also doesn't make a tremendous amount of noise when other branches or twigs are brushing up against the material, and can prove very useful, especially while photographing wildlife when you're trying not to make too much noise and scare off any wildlife. The Shinn features comfortable shoulder straps, a sternum strap, has load lifters, and it also has a great waist belt. And all these features help so much in distributing that weight evenly while you're packing in heavy loads. The other unique feature to this pack that I wanted to bring up is the connection point for the waist belt. It's not a traditional buckle style like you'll find on most backpacks. It's a little metal device that slips into itself and locks, and can be a little bit difficult to get used to because it is a two-hand mechanism. It's not like some waist belts where you can easily unclip with just one hand. You are gonna have to use both hands. But one big benefit that comes with this design is that it's nearly indestructible. It's not going to break like you might have happen with a traditional buckle. And other than that, there really are no downsides to the comfortability of this pack. In many ways, I would even say that it exceeds the comfort level of some of my other backcountry packs. There's also a padded and reinforced structure that sits against your back, providing an extra layer of protection to the camera gear that's within the main compartment. And it's really nice because then you don't have a bunch of gear poking into your back while you hike around. And now that we've covered a lot of the core features of the Shinn 80-liter pack, I wanted to touch on the Master Cine ICU. One thing I love that f-stop does is that they designed their ICUs as separate camera units that you can install into any of the packs, as long as it fits. And this really gives you so many options to build out your kit, because although the Master Cine kit works great for me, maybe for you, you might want just the large ICU and to keep enough room on the internal compartment for extra clothing layers for an actual backpacking trip. Ultimately, what this comes down to is the modularity that you'll find in f-stop's packs. And being able to customize the layout of your dividers is so beneficial, because one day I might be carrying a specific setup with a long lens, a couple camera bodies, and maybe a couple spare lenses. The next day I may not even need to carry that long lens, and it just gives me more room for extra accessories, maybe a drone kit, and so on and so forth. And for somebody that has both a photo and video workflow, this allows me so much opportunity to really build out the kit that I need for the specific project that I'm about to take on. One thing I really appreciate about f-stop's design is that they take so much inspiration from backcountry packs. You get the best of both worlds, where you get the comfort and spaciousness that you'll find in a backcountry pack, but with all the modularity and intensive design that you find in a camera backpack. So to give an overall summary on the performance of this pack, I was extremely happy with having zero limitations to how much gear I could take with me. Some days when I was setting up multiple cameras with a variety of lenses, I had that ability. I was also able to carry my tripods and my spare clothing layers for the constantly changing weather conditions that I was experiencing in northern Idaho in the winter. And honestly, most importantly, it kept my equipment dry. And funny enough, on one of my recent projects, I found myself in a situation where it was raining super hard, the wind was blowing like crazy. I myself was getting absolutely drenched. I actually got sick after this shoot because I got so wet, so cold from that whole day of just running around in the rain. And at the very end of it, I checked my pack and there was not a single drop of rain that got inside my backpack. F-stop as a whole, in my opinion, is a company that is really putting photographers first in the design of their systems. And what I appreciate most about them is how much of a technical focus they take with every single pack that they make. Their packs are designed by photographers for photographers, and so every material, every single component into each bag is very intentionally put on that pack. And that's not something that I can say for a lot of the other packs that I've used. And what I want to leave you with is, if you're a wildlife photographer or just someone that spends a lot of time in the outdoors with a camera in hand, I highly recommend the Shinn 80-liter pack. There is no shortage of what you can store in this pack, and you're always going to have all the absolute necessities that you're going to need, from food to water, spare equipment, clothing layers, and then of course all your camera equipment. And for someone that has a bad tendency of prioritizing extra camera gear over some of those absolute necessities like extra water and some of those things, this pack is really filling a gap between my personal and professional needs as a photographer and cinematographer. Well, that's pretty much it, you guys. That's my overview and thoughts on the f-stop Shinn 80-liter pack. It is an absolutely phenomenal bag. I've been so happy with it in my personal use. To be very clear, they did not pay me at all to make this video. However, they did send me this pack. I was the one that reached out to f-stop initially because I've heard such amazing things by other photographers and videographers that recommended their packs to me. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to learn more about the f-stop Shinn 80-liter pack, feel free to check it out at fstopgear.com.